Hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It's Nigel once again, and this is going to be another wrestling review. So, of course, I hope you did have a very awesome, very fun Thanksgiving weekend. Hope you got to eat plenty of food. Who didn't get to spend a lot of time with your family, significant others, loved ones, what have you. Or even if you spent Thanksgiving by yourself, that's all good, all gravy. I hope you had a great time. But it's time to throw away your forks, and finish off the rest of your Thanksgiving leftovers. And then toss your forks. It's time to head off to war because it's time for Survivor Series. He's Wargames. So we, of course, Survivor Series Wargames taking place in Vancouver, British Columbia on Saturday. And of course, as always, I'm not professional wrestling reviewer or analyst or anything like that. Just a man who enjoys a good time, and I definitely had a really, really great time with this event. And a lot of great stuff happened. And so, without further ado, let's get into it and see what went down. Now, if you've seen these reviews before, you kind of already know how this works. If you haven't, I'm going to be talking about what I liked, disliked about the event and the matches. I'm going to go match by match, starting with the women's Wargames match to kick off the show, as Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez of the Judgment Day, Nia Jax, the women's world champion, or actually Liv Morgan, women's world champion, Nia Jax, the WWE Women's Champion, Tiffany Stratton, Miss Money in the Bank, and Candice LeRae took on a team of Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, and Bayley. So, originally it was supposed to be Jade Cargill in the place of Bayley, but Jade Cargill, of course, is injured. She was written off TV. She was attacked, so who could have attacked her? Now they're going back and forth with reports as to whether or not Jade Cargill is indeed injured. I'm gonna go ahead and hazard to lean towards the side of her being injured because this would be a really great showcase for her, especially with her and Bianca being tag champions. So to pull her from this match would be kind of surprising and a bit detrimental to her and her development and everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and hazard to guess that she more than likely was injured. But of course, Bayley taking her place, her being friends with Naomi and everything, and this is a team that has a whole lot of beef, not just team to team, but even with each other. There's some tension between the teammates. So how will that spill over into the match? Let's find out. This match was okay. It was definitely okay. Not gonna lie, it was a little clunky in the early goings, but thankfully once the later entrance came in, and then once all 10 women were in the Wargames cage, that's really when things started to pick up. And then from there, it was actually quite a bit of fun. And I'm not gonna go spot for spot. I usually don't go spot for spot, but especially not here because quite a bit happened, including Liv Morgan annihilating the competition with her baseball bat, Io Sky with the trash can once again, and she's done it multiple times, but it's still very fun, very, very risky whenever she does it, and it's something I definitely know I can do, which is why I know the wrestling business in terms of being an actual wrestler isn't for me, but of course, all the respect in the world to spots like that. But in stereo, Tiffany Stratton with a swanton, a beautiful, almost picture-perfect swanton off the top of the cage. So that was really cool. A moment where there's some tension as both Nia Jax and Liv Morgan are down, and Tiffany Stratton grabs the Money in the Bank briefcase. Who's she gonna cash in on? As both are down, and then Raquel kind of argues with her as to why are you cashing in? Why are you trying to cash in? And on either Liv or Nia Jax, and admittedly, I get it. You know, she in kayfabe would be within her right to do so because the contract is anytime, anywhere. But why would you do it in the middle of the match? Why not let them get banged up more and then try to go for it after the match? But nevertheless, Io Sky with the fire extinguisher and Raquel gets handcuffed in the confusion. Ultimately, Liv Morgan is pinned by Rhea Ripley after a huge riptide through a table off the top rope. Now, I saw some contention for this, as a lot of people felt like Io Sky should have gotten the pinfall. Now, I'm inclined to agree, but I also understand why Rhea Ripley he got the pinfall here over Liv specifically, pretty much to close that feud. The Rhea and Rhea Ripley Liv Morgan feud have been going on for a while, almost to the point of getting kind of long in the tooth. But it gives closure to that feud, and Io Sky, she's still gonna get her match against Liv Morgan, and if anything, in this team environment does kind of build that up as well, because Io and Liv did have their interactions within the match, but I understand why they went for Rhea getting the pin. Would I have been I've been upset at Io getting the pin over Liv? If no, would I have preferred it? It honestly, it's kind of 50-50. Like I said, I understand why they did it, to give closure to that feud. Rhea, I guess, tried to allude to her wanting to continue the feud with Liv, but I imagine they're probably going to wrap up that feud. Who's like this, like if they wrapped it up with Rhea finally getting the pin over Liv, I think that'd be a fine way to wrap it up, but because then you run the risk of it going too long, but otherwise, yeah, so I understand why they did, although Io, I think, getting the pin would have been, it would have worked well for her. It would have gave her a lot of momentum, although she also gets the momentum for her team winning the match, of course. So it's one thing I can see both sides, essentially. I try my best to see both sides of the coin, look at it from multiple different perspectives, even if I don't necessarily agree with one perspective. In this case, I understand why they did what they did, but nevertheless, Rhea and her team get the win, so congrats to them. So they got the advantage and got the win. And now, I don't know how, I forget how often that had happened when it comes to the advantage versus them getting the win. I feel like normally it's the team that gets the advantage ends up losing the match. And kind of spoiler for the main event, that's exactly what happens there. But I feel like you probably should throw in at least one or two matches where the team that gets the advantage does indeed get the win, to kind of add that not necessarily unpredictability, but that kind of what's the best way to describe it? It puts over the advantage. It's essentially because now the advantage kind of means something, because you could get the win in the advantage, although that's more so implied in kayfabe, which is why they have the advantage matches. But but I think especially here, the team getting the advantage and then the win, I think puts that over. But nevertheless, moving on next, the United States Championship match, as LA Knight, defends against Shinsuke Nakamura. So Shinsuke returned a few weeks ago on SmackDown, took out LA Knight, and Shinsuke Nakamura, almost a total overhaul of his look, a lot darker. Has got kind of a remix entrance theme, which it also got some mixed reception. I dig it. Like, don't get me wrong. The OG one, the Rising Sun, that one is and always will be an absolute banger. But this one's not bad either. Like, this one kind of slows things down, makes it more lumbering, gives it more of a sinister vibe. Same for when he initially turned heel and it had like the extra like Japanese lyrics and everything. So I dig it. I know a lot of people don't, but I dig it. And I think a lot of people are more so upset because they took away the other one, which I get why they did that, but it is still a anger. But this one's fine as well. But also between the attacks, speaking of the attacks, kind of the story being presented is that Shinsuke Nakamura is in LA Knight's head. LA Knight even dropping his U.S. title on the way to really convey that LA Knight is a bit off his game, and off his game he was against Shinsuke. LA Knight already had been hit with the mist. Is blinded by the mist. So Shinsuke is firmly in LA Knight's head, and this one on LA Knight, of course, getting his offense in, but this really to help put over Shinsuke, and Shinsuke even winning the United States Championship. Gnarly bump on the metal kind of flooring in the middle that separates the two rings. Very, very gnarly, but for her LA Knight there, her allowing Shinsuke to get the win, and but props to LA Knight for even taking that bump in the first place. But yeah, so Shinsuke gets the win. He's the new United States champion. I know some people were kind of upset because they felt Andrade or Carmelo Hayes should have been champion after the work they were doing, but at the same time, considering a lot of people did want them to do something with Shinsuke and push him. Plus, this does open up his cool seat. Plus, this does open up a feud. Like Andrade can feud with Shinsuke. I don't imagine Shinsuke's gonna hold the U.S. title for very long, but give him a nice, decent reign, and then hand it off to Andrade or Carmelo Hayes. Is now this opens up a feud instead of him just feuding with LA Knight the whole time. Plus, with Shinsuke and this new character and really putting it over, Shinsuke getting the win here made sense. It would stop if Nakamura lost here to LA Knight after this whole reinvention and everything. It would stop that momentum dead in its tracks. And sadly, we've seen that too many times in WWE history where someone gets this new character and they try to put it over in this big, awesome, super dangerous threat that try to put that over just for them to lose relatively often, lose almost from the get-go. Sadly, we've seen it way too often. Them giving Nakamura the win here, giving him the championship here, I think was the right move. Excuse me. But next up for the Intercontinental Championship in Triple Threat action, Braun Breaker defended against both the Celtic Warrior Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser of Imperium. So, this stemmed from the Intercontinental Championship match a couple weeks ago on Raw, where Braun Breaker defended against Sheamus, but Ludwig Kaiser attacked both men. Gunther telling Ludwig Kaiser, "Hey, go out there and go after that title. I already got my title, and we're gonna see Gunther with his title. I already got my title. You go get yours." So, then it was a match between Braun Breaker and Ludwig Kaiser, and then Sheamus returned the favor on Kaiser. So now it's led to this triple threat situation. Dig that Scott Steiner shirt that Braun Breaker was wearing in the interim between matches when they show them warming up and everything. But this match was absolutely fantastic. If it wasn't for the main event, this might be match of the night. Heck, in a lot of people's mind, this is match of the night. And honestly, if you I'm gonna say this now, I think I'm gonna give the match of the night to the main event, but if you would give this match of the night, I definitely would not blame you, because this match was phenomenal. Just all three guys doing what they do best, absolutely putting on a banger after banger after banger, or just showing some really fantastic stuff with all three guys. Huge, not only one of the biggest flying shoulder tackle, was a shoulder tackle that would make John Cena blush from Braun Breaker, but Braun then jumping from the apron and everything before nailing the spear ultimately on Sheamus in order to pick up the win. And Sheamus even coming super close with the bro. You think he's gonna do it, but Ludwig Kaiser pulls out the referee, so adding even more of that tension. Yeah, all three guys. Sheamus rising up behind Ludwig Kaiser like Jason Voorhees. He was pretty cool. Just all kinds of fun stuff. This was a fun triple threat. Triple threats and the Intercontinental Championship definitely go together like peanut butter and jelly. And this match, I think, was just another prime example. Awesome match, and really, you could make a case for all three guys winning this one. I think Braun. I knew Braun was gonna win. I didn't think they were gonna take it off him, but I wouldn't have been mad either way. Sheamus would get his the only title he needs to be Grand Slam champion, which it's kind of surprising that in the almost 2 decades Sheamus has been there, they didn't once think to pop the Intercontinental title on him. And by there, I mean on the main roster as a main roster character. I know he worked in OVW and I think even FCW for a little bit. But I mean, in terms of on-screen character, the fact that he didn't have one IC title reign even for like a day or two in that time is actually kind of surprising. Ludwig Kaiser would have gotten his first solo championship to really establish him, because it looks like they're going to really establish him as a solo star or from Gunther. He's still obviously going to be part of Imperium and everything, but to really establish him as a solo star, I think would be cool. But ultimately, it going back to Braun Breaker, or staying with Braun Breaker, I should say, I'm not entirely mad at. So yeah, really, really fantastic match. But next up, speaking of which, for the World Heavyweight Championship, Gunther defends against Damian Priest. Now, the story being told here is that Damian Priest won the Fatal 4-Way in order to get this match, but also is Gunther's confidence shaken because he lost against Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel. He lost that match. So is Gunther's confidence shaken? Is the ring general truly unraveling and becoming fallible? And a lot of people again, and this is now I think like the third or fourth time I said it, kind of mixed reception to this, with Gunther having this confidence shaken. A lot of people who felt like this element shouldn't be there. And the thing is it adds a dimension to Gunther's character. Plus, it really makes that match against Cody mean something, and it adds a dimension to Gunther's character, so he's not one-dimensional. It shows he's fallible. He can be beaten, and so Damian looking to prove he is not street trash and get his win back from SummerSlam. And these two, who definitely put on a really solid match here. The story, you can see throughout, I think both guys did really well. Between this and their match at SummerSlam, I think I'm going to go with the SummerSlam one, but I think this one was still really good. But Finn does show up and hits the coup de grace from the steps onto Damian Priest, and he's before Gunther immediately just goes out and just boots the crap out of Finn, and ooh, Finn. And so Gunther did not want Finn's help. He did not want another tainted victory, but sure enough, Gunther, who had been targeting the arms of Damian Priest, he's throughout the match, does lock in the sleeper, and that's kind of what sends Damian to the outside. He goes for like super X before Gunther falls off and Damian falls off as well. But ultimately locks in the sleeper to get his win back over Damian. So will we get a Damian Gunther rematch? How will Finn be involved in this? Will we get a Finn Gunther match? I am interested to see the direction they end up going when it comes to this match. But in the meantime, really, really great match. A really solid match for one of the two world championships to be defended here. I know why Cody's not on the show, because he's going to be on Saturday night's main event, and that's coming up. So I get why he's not here. But in terms of this world title match, really, really solid, I must say. But now it's time for your main event, the second Wargames match. Now it's the men's turn as OG takes on New, who as the OG bloodline, that being Roman Reigns, the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, Sami Zayn, and the controversial cult of personality CM Punk take on the new bloodline, that being the tribal chief, the current tribal chief, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, the Samoan Werewolf, Hama Tonga and Tongaloa, and Big Bronson Reed. So, what a road we've gotten to here. So, let's take it back to SummerSlam. Roman returned, gunning for Solo, helped Cody retain against Solo, teamed up with Cody at Bad Blood against Solo and Jacob Fatu, and got the win there. Then from there, the Usos coming back to Roman, kind of being part of the bloodline, and again, same with Sami Zayn, who may not be related by blood, but he is still family. He is still the honorary Us. He is still Sammy Uso. And people thought it was going to be 4v4 heading in. Solo wanting to prove he is the undisputed tribal chief, but Roman, of course, having none of that. It's really and lest we forget Bronson Reed coming along, being part of the new bloodline. So the OG bloodlines response to that had Paul Heyman bringing in CM Punk, and CM Punk being in on being in on the condition that Paul Heyman owes him a favor. What's that favor? He's gonna team with Kyle Fletcher to take on the tag team champions. No, I'm kidding. But of course, CM Punk, like the AEW tag team champions. I know that joke kind of fell apart, but anyway. CM Punk, Roman Reigns, will they coexist? We will find out. Interesting notes as we get into the entrances here, and I am gonna stop the recording in just a second because I do have to grab something at the door. But an interesting note about the entrances here. CM Punk comes out. The New Bloodline come out all together. Bronson Reed doesn't get a solo entrance, and it is pretty interesting how the New Bloodline is more of a cohesive unit. And I guess that's more the story because there's so many fractures in the OG Bloodline. And heck, there's fractures with Solo as well, and Solo's obviously the brother of Jimmy and Jay, so there's that fracture there. But they come out together. CM Punk comes out after Sammy and Jimmy. He then pushes in, grabs Bronson Reed, so they get mad. The screen blacked out for something. I guess something happened and off screen that they couldn't show. Then Roman coming out. Then Jay getting his own entrance through the crowd. It's gonna be Jay starting off with Tama Tonga. And Jay, obviously coming through the crowd, still wearing the red though, in Bloodline Solidarity, and even CM Punk wearing the red and camo in Bloodline Solidarity. Alright, so quick edit there, of course. So, Jay Uso and Tama Tonga starting off the match, and as I kind of alluded to earlier, I think this between the two Wargames matches I think this one, was the better of the two. I gotta give it to the fellas here. I think mainly because while there were a few clunky moments in the match, I think even more with the story unfolding, even like before going into the match, I think really helped things out. Now, obviously with the women's, there is some semblance of a story there, of course, but here I think it was built up a little bit more, which is unfortunate that this one got more of a story than the women's, but nevertheless, this one was quite a bit of fun as well. I think all 10 guys really did their thing. I think starting off with Tama Tonga and Jey Uso, I think was an okay choice, not wanting to bring out the big guns early. Some tension between CM Punk and Roman Reigns is giving us yet even more meme material. Roman holding CM Punk back to send Sammy in. Not even the first time he did that. Not necessarily with CM Punk. I think it was with. I think it might have been with Solo last time, but back when Solo was on Team Bloodline at Wargames 2022. But then CM Punk pushing past Roman and to go in there. Ultimately, CM Punk pulling Roman off the table later on in the match. I know, I'm probably going to be jumping all over the place. As Bronson nailed the tsunami. Well, I guess the person taking the biggest bump from the tsunami off the top of the cage was Bronson himself, essentially. But the dynamic of CM Punk and Roman slowly gelling together as the match continued. And then Solo at the end being cornered there. And also, of course, Jacob Fatu doing Jacob Fatu things within the match. Actually, Jacob Fatu also sent in before Tonga Loa could go in. So, and Solo held Tonga Loa back and then sent in Jacob Fatu. So I guess Roman's not the only one doing it, but I think that the O's really helped put over the match. Jimmy even nailing a whisper in the wind, and even Roman taking a bit of a bump. As of course Solo, when Roman was the last one in, Solo locked the cage, and also like I alluded to earlier, it was the New Bloodline that got the advantage, of course, because Jacob Fatu had beat Jey Uso the night before on SmackDown. Technically the week before because it was taped early, but beat Jay the night before on SmackDown. So obviously giving the new bloodline the advantage. But had Roman then climbing up over the cage and nailing crossbody off the top rope. I thought he was gonna jump from the top of the cage. I don't know why, but of course a bit of a safer landing, especially considering both Bronson Reed and Jimmy Uso got injured. I think Jimmy Uso suffered a broken toe. I forgot how Bronson got injured, and Jacob Fatu might have gotten injured as well. So hopefully they're kayfabe injuries. If not, hopefully the injuries aren't too serious. It's of course hoping they get well soon. But Solo cornered by the OG Bloodline before they all take him out with their respective moves and thankfully Sammy and Roman didn't go for it at the same time like they did at Crown Jewel. Instead, at this time going one-on-one, and ultimately Roman getting his win in his pin and in a way win back from Crown Jewel in order for the OG Bloodline to pick up the win. And so the OG Bloodline they celebrate, they hug, they embrace with Paul Heyman and everything, in which Paul Heyman. And at first, there is a moment earlier on in the match. I told you I was going to be all over the place. There's a moment earlier in the match where CM Punk and Roman are going to come to blows, but Paul kind of gets them back in the game, just says, hey, just coexist for one night. That's why he's a wise man, but Punk going to come back for that favor. And it seems that favor is what a lot of people had already suspected it to be, that being getting CM Punk his main event at WrestleMania. I mean, there's probably easier ways you could go about it, but sure. Or I think Punk, you might be at the level where you could probably just ask for it, but I guess CM Punk didn't want to be that guy, and admittedly, yeah, that's pretty annoying as well. But it is nice to see that a year after making his return to WWE, then a year later he's involved in the Survivor Series Wargames match. Punk did his part. Everybody really did their part. But the dynamic between Roman and Punk just adding that extra new wrinkle to things. So how will things continue to unfold? Will the OG Bloodline and the new Bloodline feud for much longer? Honestly, I don't think they should. I think you should wrap things up between them by Saturday night's main event. Have Solo and Roman battle in like Bloodline rules, what have you, for the Ulafala, and then kind of end things from there. No Rock appearance. A lot of people were surprised at that, but a lot of people do speculate that Rock is not gunning for Roman. He's gunning for Cody. So he's going after Cody. So will that be the case? We will find out. But yeah, all in all, a very solid show, I must say. In terms of now, like SS3 Survivor Series under the Triple H regime, and 3 with the War Games, with kind of the War Games format. Between the 3, where would I rank this one? I'd probably between the 3, I'd rank this one as technically the weakest, but I'd say still a pretty solid show, all things considered. As for the strongest and weakest matches of the night, the strongest, I've said multiple times, definitely the main event. And is it perfect? Not really. Is it somewhat predictable? Yeah, but predictable doesn't always mean bad. And I think even though the main event was still predictable, you could probably predict that the OG Bloodline would get their win back. It's still pretty fun, and as long as the journey getting there, as long as the journey justifies the conclusion, and the ends justify the means, I think is what I meant to say. As long as that happens, I think you can kind of let it go. As for what's the best War Games match, definitely the triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship. Like, between those two, if you can make a strong case for either one being match of the night. Those matches were tremendous. As for the weakest, I'm gonna go with the United States Championship match, just compared to everything else. But nevertheless, that is going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video, so you can see it as soon as it drops. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts on Survivor Series this year, as well as my analysis / review. Did you like Survivor Series? Did you like my review of Survivor Series? Let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace.